let a lot of people down from the choice that I'm about to make. I've been asked to leave it alone. It's been said that people got a short attention span. They're not going to be thinking about this shit in the next 3 hours, 3 days. Move on. Let it go. Take the high road. You're a star. Your stage is big. Envy. You know how you said, I don't give a fuck about nothing. If anybody disrespect my wife, and then you ran down all your kids' names, you said, I don't give a fuck who you are, what it is. When it comes to wife and my family, I don't play no games. You goofy. No one has disrespected your wife and your family more than you. You know the most dangerous thing about me? Is I know what I know about the level you took it to. I'll leave it at that.
Remember what I said in my last video about them two, him and Envy's wife, identifying with each other. So in order for him to fix their marriage at the time, he had to get in and get his hands dirty. Hence, her letting him know exactly what's going on. Him being that person to trust. Now he's letting all the dirty laundry out.
So all of a sudden, when it comes to your wife and your family, that's off limits. I don't play no games. I'll fucking be ready to shoot, stab, and kill when it comes to my wife and my family. But nigga, no one has violated and disrespected the shit out of your first lady and your family more than you.
He's absolutely right. He is absolutely right. Your family supposed to be sacred to you. Your wife's supposed to be sacred to you. When you get married, you make vows. You and that person forever. And whatever the situation is, you're supposed to work it out. Envy stepped outside of that.
Pen in that. I'm not on the air, am I? Yes. You're on the air. When you called, she answered because you called her from the hotline number at the radio station. That's how it works.
He fucking cooking right now. So now what you see is when everybody's vulnerable, right, in these different times, she may have told him too much. He may have told him too much. And now that they at odds and Tyrese feel like his back against the wall, you're trying to make him seem like he's a creep. He came at your wife with inappropriate texts, other words, complimenting her and stuff like that, which he may did. Being too comfortable, like the wife said, he was aggressive and getting angry because he wanted her time, which is kind of weird. But let's continue on. But I think right now his back up against the wall. So now he's letting it all out. And he got some good points. DJ Envy did disrespect his wife. He did disrespect his family. And that's probably why he's probably more protective about him now, because he made those mistakes. They amended. They moved on past it. Now it's being reopened because on the Breakfast Club, when they had that interview and DJ Envy had that energy, note they haven't spoken to each other or seen each other. So
everybody can see through the Let me explain something to you, sir. Any real man who's ever been married, got a fiance, a girl, a baby mama, most real men, most don't play no games when it comes to their girl or their wife ever being disrespected or violated by another man. Your story is all over the place. It's so all over the place that y'all don't even realize that what you said at 5:01 is very different than what you're saying at 5:03. DJ Envy, you know how much your net worth is, right? You know you don't have a prenuptial agreement in place, right? You know you got about 6 or 7 kids, right? You know that everything about everything pertaining to your world was about to come crashing down. And for some random, strange, odd, unexpected reason, I did exactly what God told me to do. And they say that no good deed shall go unpunished.
That was a lot he just said right there. That was a lot. Because she could have walked away with everything. There's no prenuptial agreement, meaning she getting half off top. Like he said, you know your net worth. So she's taking that. You got 6 or 7 kids. That's child support and alimony. So Tyrese saved DJ Envy for taking a big hit. A big hit. Now this lets you know, like you gotta read between the lines. That just lets you know what type of conversation Tyrese and Envy's wife had. They was talking. Like she said, we became friends and we was really cool. So like maybe she was sending him mixed signals. Cause it's 2 sides to every story. It's one thing to say this man was a creep, right? And he sent disrespectful text messages, complimenting and stuff like. But what make you think he would just, let's just be reasonable. Like he would just like, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that, blah blah blah. What would make him jump out there like that? Was she sending choosing signals? I'm just saying. It doesn't make it right, regardless. That's a married woman. But you gotta pay attention. Think about the stuff that he know. And if this came from the wife, there it is. They grew a connection. They grew a bond. She felt comfortable. Granted, they was both vulnerable, and and it was more or less him helping Envy, because the wife probably was about to go. That's why he said he saved the marriage, because she was about to be out of there. I don't know, man, but when you bring people in, whether it's they volunteer or not, you putting your business out there, and everybody can't be trusted with all your business. Whether Tyrese was right or wrong, they know what happened. But we're not just gonna sit here and when you really think about it, sit here and just blame that man and say, yeah, he just jumped out there. It was something that made him jump out there. And based on this information that he obviously they did a lot of talking. She said that in the phone call interview. So.
And I'm experiencing this right now in real time. You know why your wife called into the airwaves, bro? Because you got exposed in your living room. When I said, how convenient, you could not sit there and look me as a man in my eyes and tell me with real honesty and integrity why my divorce has been a mockery and a funny joke and a topic of discussion at the Breakfast Club. You and Charlemagne talking about mental health awareness. Are we going to be advocates for mental health awareness, or are we out here trying to f people mental health up?
Woo, he cooking. And it is kind of hypocritical. What he's basically pointing out that both of them is hypocrites. Both of them cheated on their wives and almost lost their marriage. And now, and being as though that Tyrese had a hand in correcting DJ Envy's situation, when it was his turn, he made fun, he mocked. So that's what he's saying. He's saying these motherfuckers are hypocrites. Yeah, granted, we not the best of friends, but we friends enough. I know a lot about you and your situation, and I kept it in. I know what you did, and I kept it in. So, and being as though he brought his wife into the situation, and he said he disrespected her, then the wife, they gave a little bit more clarity on what they meant, and now he like, oh, so we talking, so let's talk. So he letting anybody know. And he's definitely right about when it comes to this mental health. Like, we can push people over the edge, and that's why we got to be responsible when we sit in front of these microphones and cameras, the stuff that we say. I'm learning that. But you can push somebody over the edge, especially a person like that y'all know and y'all see having mental crisis. It can be anybody. It can be anybody in your family who have a mental crisis. And if you're an advocate for mental health, if anything, your work would be done behind the scenes. But for them, it was business as usual. It's a show. It's about making money. It's clicks. Tyrese, look at him. What have you done for me? So, like, yeah, this is the hot topic. They jumped on it. And having a big platform like that, everybody saw it. All the memes, so the majority of the people saw it on platforms like The Breakfast Club. So he got a point.
These are the day, and I think people and going into people's issues and breakups and marriages and financial traumas and all of the things. Yeah, you got a job to do. I got it. You're in radio. You got to report the news. I got all that. I got it. But you cannot be pumping and perpetuating mental health and mental health awareness and then be out here fucking people mental health up.
Exactly. You can't burn a candle at both ends. One cancel out the other. Either you for it or against it. But you gotta understand, these men ain't really they not advocates for mental health. They advocates for their own mental health. When Charlemagne was talking about mental health, he was really advocating for himself. He wasn't advocating for everybody else. So,
I don't have mental health issues. I had a mental health breakdown because I was given psych meds that had extreme adverse effects.
And you know what? Let me speak to that. I don't know this man personally at all. I remember when he was sitting on the bus singing with the earphones on. That's how far me and Tyrese go back, right? When he was doing the commercials. But I'm gonna say this. Based on the behavior that we see or seen in the past, when he was doing that, you don't see him doing that no more. You don't see him crying, melting down. The people around his lady stayed there. So obviously, if he was really crazy, she probably would have got out of there at that time. And we don't see him doing the same thing. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, yeah, it probably was from the medicine he was on. You don't know what's going to happen when you take these pills, man. We trust our physicians, and you might have a psychiatrist, whatever, who might recommend some medicine, and you may have an adverse effect. That is not that far-fetched. It's not. You got people taking stuff. You get a pill for depression, may cause suicide, may cause bloating. Don't take if you're pregnant, may have nightmares. It's a whole list of side effects longer than the daggone cure. So, I'm going to give them that.
If I'm in a studio and smoking weed, you'll see me sleep on the couch. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do anything. Anything that has to do with me being exposed to anything, I'm gonna be wiped out. You got a bottom line about never disrespecting your wife and never disrespecting your family. That's a general consensus. I think every man in the world feels that exact same way. But ask how do you disrespect your wife and your family the most and try and hold another man to a particular standard?
Oh, ye hypocrites. He's absolutely right. He is absolutely right. The only thing I could guess is the animosity from him feeling a way about him complimenting his wife, right? But that's because they established their own bond. And she may have been choosing signals. And he probably, I'm going to play with it a little bit. He probably was. I could be 1,000% wrong too. He might have just jumped out there to jump out there. But let's just be real about it. This happens all the time with people. Not to everybody, but enough. So, that's why, I don't know, man. Fucking bald head chocolate nigga talking to your lady. Singing ass nigga at that. So, she's not a celebrity. DJ Envy, he's a celebrity now, but Tyrese always been a celebrity. He's been in Transformers, all kinds of Baby Boy. He's a young legend for real. Let's be honest. So I mean, it could have been a little bit of that, and then at the same time, him being who he is for the amount of time he's been, he's probably used to women treat him a certain type of way as well. I'm just saying. And then if you look at the women that he's dealt with publicly, that's kind of his type. I'm just saying, his wife.
And how do I go above and beyond to be used to step in, to do whatever it is that I did to try and help?
You volunteered. All right. You talking on both sides of your mouth. You volunteered. He didn't ask you, which was a good deed, by the way, but you volunteered. You don't have to volunteer to be in nobody messy marriage. You don't. And nobody really wants to volunteer to try to deal with somebody else's problem. That's a serious problem. Somebody having an affair, about to lose it all. But I'm going to say this. He probably the only person on the planet that could have did what he did. But you volunteered based on whatever past interviews you did with this man on this show, based on whatever relationship you had with Charlamagne, based on you being a fan of the show and watching it, because the stuff they say on the show obviously affects your life and how you feel about yourself. But you volunteered. God told you. Can't have it both ways.
You guys ultimately still did all the work. You guys still decided to stick to your vows. Let me remind you, through thick and thin, for better, for worse, sickness and health till death do us part. We can say a lot of things, but we can't say that you ain't got a real wife over there that's really got your back.
Person that was my brother and helped my relationship, not the Tyrese that I was going through. So I took a step back from
so you got
until
the
we had a
text
conversation.
messages of the psych med Tyrese?
He did. That's
Oh,
what it
you
was.
crazy? Charlamagne told you to suck his dick before on that message.
Because you was talking crazy.
Whoa.
Through all that, he still bigged up the wife. And that's where I'm kind of perplexed, because it don't seem like he's trying to get revenge for anything the wife said. But what he did hint to is that she's trying to clean it up for him. When he mocked her talking about, am I on the air? Like, you on the air. You called the hotline. But he still didn't disrespect the wife. And even when the wife spoke about him, she didn't disrespect him. The sad thing about all of this, and if it was a misunderstanding or he may have complimented her and it made her feel away, they could have had this conversation behind the scenes. But see, that's the thing. They was never really friends. That's why they couldn't hash it out like that. Because and then DJ Envy, I don't know him. Of course I don't. But like you obviously from how he acts on here, this dude's a ball of emotion. He's real sensitive. And of course he's gonna be sensitive about his family, especially after he just almost lost it. He almost lost everything. At the same time, you may think it's kind of hypocritical of him being that way, but maybe he is a changed man. Maybe he did repent. Maybe sometimes, your life got to flash in front of your eyes before you realize, like, I would never, ever crash out and take what I had for granted. You see people coming home from doing prison bids, doing 15 years, 20 years, man, they just happy to be here. Oh, a gun, drugs, get that away from me. He talking about doing, I don't even want those type of people around me. So regardless of what they may have did, they got them that time, but when they came home, they reformed, and they don't want to go back to that. So it could be the same way for DJ Envy with almost losing everything he had. So he may be triggered. He may be extra sensitive. But this, it's a mess now, and it is what it is. You could look back and Monday morning quarterback and say he could have did this, she could have did that, but it is what it is. Hopefully it don't continue to play out and they just let it go. And it's just been a tit for tat. But, when you stepping in to help somebody and getting in a relationship, like one part of the whole situation is to be responsible. You know what I'm saying? And try to stay professional and a real friend. I'm not saying he didn't. But look at this, all the misunderstandings when you really don't know people, which she might have took him the wrong way. He could be a real complimentive brother. That's what he used to. Hey, you're beautiful. Like, he's who he is. That's the way he talked. But then it turned into situations like this where men with egos And that's what you see playing out. And insecurities playing out live on air. But ain't nobody gonna tell him that. Nah, this is ego and insecurities playing out. So that's my take on it.